Somewhere in southern China, there's a village most of the world has never heard of. No signs, no tourists, not even a name on most maps. But if you're wearing something from SHEIN right now, there's a good chance it was stitched together here by someone earning 6 cents a piece, working until 1 in the morning. I went in to find out if that's actually true. What I found wasn't just a factory town. It was an entire hidden economy built on a promise SHEIN made, and may not be keeping. This is Nancun, on the edge of Guangzhou. Locals just call it SHEIN Village. By 7:35 on a Saturday morning, the streets are already filling up. 10 minutes later, they're packed. An estimated 300,000 people, all heading to the same handful of blocks. Even before SHEIN existed, this was one of China's biggest garment-making hubs. Now, it's the engine behind the fastest fashion company on the planet. Somewhere around 5,000 factories crammed into a few square kilometers. More than 500 of them make clothes directly for SHEIN. Another 1,000 work as their subcontractors. Back in 2021, SHEIN was hit with serious allegations. Excessive hours, poverty wages, and even child labor in its supply chain. The company responded with a $15 million pledge to fix it. Better facilities, worker support programs, real oversight. So the question is simple. Did that money actually change anything on the ground? To find out, I didn't ask SHEIN. I asked the village. Help wanted signs are stapled to nearly every wall here, but almost none of them list a wage. 2 men looking for ironing work told me flatly they'd already quit a job like this once. The hours, they said, were the reason.
I just don't see the point in going through it all again today. We don't really have a choice, do we? I guess not.
Some shifts start at 8 or 9 in the morning and don't end until 11 at night. And it's not hourly pay, it's piece rate. No clock out bonus, no overtime. Get paid for what you finish, not for the hours you're standing there. One of them mentioned a coworker who's been doing this exact job, ironing on his feet all day since he was 7 or 8 years old. 30 years in the same trade. I asked about child labor directly. A recruiter actually asked my age first, half joking, before insisting the factories can't legally hire minors. They'd be fined. On paper, that line holds. Whether it holds everywhere in a village this size is a different question. Here's how the village actually runs. Factories hang their best-selling garments outside on the street like advertisements. Workers walk from door to door comparing piece rates before they commit to a shift. It's almost a marketplace, except the product being priced is a day of someone's labor. This is what makes SHEIN's small batch, quick response model possible. Keep inventory low, and the second something goes viral online, push the village to mass produce it. Sometimes turning a design into a shelf-ready product in as little as 72 hours. That speed comes from somewhere. I wanted to know exactly where. A woman trimming loose threads gave me the clearest answer. She said if she had another option, she'd take it. But this is what's available. On a good day, the fastest workers here can make around $50, but only by finishing roughly 600 pieces at about 7 cents each. Most people, she said, land somewhere between $880 and $1,000 a month. Not per week, per month. Inside one factory, I actually found SHEIN's own code of conduct posted on the wall. It states that suppliers should schedule working hours reasonably and follow local labor law. But the shifts I was seeing ran 12 to 13 hours a day, close to 80 hours a week. China's legal limit is 40. SHEIN has publicly stated that wages here run 40 to 75% above the local average, based on a wage study the company commissioned a few years back. Maybe those numbers are accurate, but a wage that's only competitive if you ignore how many hours it took to earn it isn't really a wage comparison. It's a magic trick. So why does everyone here get paid by the piece instead of the hour? One factory manager gave me the most honest answer of the whole trip. The factories that tried fixed monthly salaries went bankrupt a long time ago. Piece rate isn't a preference, it's survival.
Because here's the part that doesn't show up in SHEIN's marketing. The village doesn't set these low rates by choice. It's being squeezed from above. Suppliers making clothes for SHEIN are reportedly working on margins as thin as 10 to 20%. For context, cross-border e-commerce usually needs closer to 50% margin just to survive the shipping risk and overseas logistics involved. SHEIN's pricing team hands suppliers a suggested selling price, and multiple factory owners say that price sometimes sits below what the item actually costs to make. One longtime supplier described the pattern bluntly. The moment a product starts selling well, SHEIN comes back asking for a lower price. Say no, and within days, the exact same item quietly appears cheaper somewhere else on the platform anyway. She's the one holding the inventory. She's the one racing the deadline. She's already quoting her lowest possible price, and she's still being asked to cut it further. That's the mechanism. Squeeze the supplier squeezes the workshop squeezes the worker standing at the sewing machine until midnight. Nobody at the bottom set these prices. Now here's the twist that actually stopped me in my tracks. SHEIN's own corporate headquarters sits less than 2 kilometers from this village. Office employees there reportedly operate under something internally nicknamed the 242 rule, a minimum of 242 hours a month. Last year, that minimum reportedly climbed to 264 hours a month. For comparison, China's infamous 996 work culture, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week, comes out to roughly 288 hours. SHEIN's corporate staff are just 24 hours short of that. One former employee wrote publicly that she never expected to get rich working 242 or 264 hours a month, and that she wasn't born just to work like a draft animal. She said she was here to actually experience her life.
Read that again. That's the office, 2 kilometers away. People with contracts, benefits, and a name on an org chart saying the workload is inhuman. Now, go back to the village. Nobody there has a contract at all. No social security, no safety net if a factory shuts down tomorrow. One worker told me it doesn't matter. If something goes wrong, the police can help. Another simply shrugged. Jobs like this were never going to come with real benefits anyway. 2 kilometers. 2 completely different definitions of too much work. Only one side of that gap has any legal protection at all.
By 9 p.m., the factories are still full. Machines still running. Lights still on. But something's shifting underneath the surface. Several workers told me factories have been closing at a noticeable rate this year. Nobody could point to one exact cause. Most guessed it was some mix of US-China trade tensions and a slowing economy. Whatever the reason, some of the same SHEIN factories that were packed a year ago are now sitting half empty. I met one woman at a nearly deserted production floor. Orders had dried up, and she genuinely didn't know where she'd be working next. She's not young anymore, she said, and finding another shop willing to take her on isn't guaranteed. That's the real risk in a village built entirely on piece rate and zero job security. It's not just that the work is brutal, it's that the work can disappear overnight, and nobody here has anything to fall back on when it does.
SHEIN promised $15 million to fix this supply chain. Somewhere in this village, that money may genuinely be doing something. But walk the streets yourself, and what we'll mostly find hasn't changed. 80-hour weeks, 6-cent piece rates, and a workforce with no contract, no cushion, and no leverage. Building a $70 billion company 2 kilometers from its own front door. So here's the real question worth sitting with. The next time a $6 shirt shows up at your door in 3 days,
who actually paid for that speed?